Welcome back again to Joe Stunner Boxing. The fallout from the Fury cut, the cancellation of Tyson Fury versus Alexander Usyk, that fallout continues. And now Frank Warren is sort of on the quiet rampage like he always is. He says that he will sue Adam Catterall of talkSPORT if Catterall doesn't apologise for saying, or not for saying that the cut is fake, but for asking the question, is it fake? Now, this refers to a talkSPORT, I think it's a phone-in show. I've only seen clips of it where Catterall is with Jermaine Pennant, the ex-footballer, and they're taking calls. And one guy, I think a guy called Pat, called in and he said he's asking questions and he's annoyed about the cancellation. And he says, well, I never, ever thought it would go ahead anyway. So did a lot of us. We had our doubts anyway. Not just me and this Pat, but lots and lots of people were saying they have doubts about the fight going ahead. Sure enough, it isn't. But after Pat's call had finished, Catterall said, you know, is it legit? He's kind of asking the question, is it possible that Fury, you know, faked it, that his team weren't happy with what was going on in the camp and blah, blah. Now, because he says that, Warren was then interviewed on a channel called The Fight Wire, which I'm not that familiar with, but it was a good interview. And he said, oh, you know, for Catterall to say that, he's basically saying that we're lying, the whole team is lying. I will get a solicitor's letter sent to him asking for a retraction if he doesn't apologise. I'll sue him. That's what he said. I will personally sue him because there is prior beef between Catterall and Warren. But I don't see what Warren is talking. I wonder if Warren's even seen Catterall speaking and what he said, because Catterall wasn't accusing anyone. He was asking the question, you know, is it a legitimate postponement? In other words, did Fury and his team fake it? He's asking the question. He's not stating it. And he's perfectly entitled to do that. We've done that on this channel. I've done it. G-Man's done it. I think Hatman's another one. You know, loads of people go on the internet. All these channels, these boxing channels and sports channels, have asked the question: is it legitimate? Now, why have they asked that question? Why? Because I'll tell you, we've got Dan Aziz versus Joshua Buatsi coming up tonight, and when Aziz was injured last year, virtually no one said, oh, he's faked it. A few people said, well, the fight wasn't selling, so perhaps, you know, they faked an injury. There were a few people, as there always will be, who asked the question, who found an angle. And yeah, and again, if you ask a question like that, unless it's completely preposterous, you can't say to someone, well, you shouldn't ask that question. What are you talking about? You're obviously wrong, because feasibly it's possible. The question is, you know, does it hold any water? But if somebody asks a question and you think it's ridiculous, you might say, well, I think that's ridiculous. But you can't actually say, this is the thing about building a narrative, you can't actually say, well, that conclusively, that's nonsense unless you've got inside information. Now, this seems to be where Warren is coming from. But I don't see how he could sue Catterall for asking the question. Because like I say, so many of us have said, is this a legit reason? Is Fury faking it? Why is Fury faking it? When you look at the Aziz Buatsi cancellation, there are only a few people asking that question. Why are so many people asking the question about Fury? The answer is quite simple. Because he couldn't lie straight in bed. Because he's so disingenuous with the truth. He plays so many stupid games. There's such an avalanche of bullshit that comes out of Tyson Fury's mouth, and on occasion Frank Warren, that when something like this happens, inevitably people will ask questions. They won't make accusations. I've had people in the comments section of my videos saying, I think this, I think that, I believe this. And again, it's called freedom of speech. I know it's a dying art, because of modern. Don't get me started on the whole quote unquote woke thing, which does hold. It's true. It exists. It's nonsensical. People being the cancel culture, something that disgusts me. And I speak as someone of the political left, and it is very sadly a lot of people on the political left who promote this fascistic nonsense, this cancel culture, this wokeism. But at the same time, we still do live in a country in which freedom of speech exists. We don't have a First Amendment like the US, but there is still such a thing as, judicial precedents about things such as freedom of speech. Now, again, I get back to it. Catterall did not say Fury's team had faked it. He asked the question, is it legitimate? Therefore, I don't see how Frank Warren can sue him, because he hasn't. He said, Frank Warren said, it's slanderous because it implies we've lied. Okay, if he was to make the statement, I don't believe this. I think you, Frank Warren, you, Tyson Fury, faked this injury, or you inflicted it deliberately to get out of the Usyk fight. He's not saying that. If he said that, okay, that could be considered slander and Warren would have a leg to stand on legally. But Catterall hasn't said that. I haven't said that. All the other people who make videos, all the other people who have boxing channels haven't said that. But we are entitled to ask the question, particularly when it comes to Tyson Fury, who is so completely disingenuous. I'll use that word. You know what I mean, okay? He's not to be trusted. I don't trust Tyson Fury as far as I could throw him. And trust me, throw him, I couldn't even pick the bugger up, all right? But look, you're entitled to have an opinion, okay? Even in this day and age, you're entitled to have an opinion. And for Warren to come out and say he's going to sue Catterall, I don't think it'll happen. If I was Catterall, I'd say, Frank, piss off. If you want to send me a solicitor's letter, send it to me. We'll go to court and we'll have a little round. We'll see who comes out on top. Because I don't see this holding water at all. Anyway, Frank Warren, Mr. Litigation, threatening again on the rampage. But leave your comments below if you've got any. Did you see the Warren interview, and did you see the Catterall comment that he's talking about? Have a think about it. Watch it. Tell me what you think, what your opinion is. As usual, subscribe to the channel if you're new. I'd really appreciate that. Hit the like button. I'll catch you later. Thanks a lot for your time. Bye for now.